All right, what's up, guys? We're back with another video here. Today, we're going to be doing something different than all of our normal raid ones. We're going to be going over an Ecodoom 14 from a Holy Paladin's point of view. Talent-wise, nothing spectacular here. Just the very run-of-the-mill, literally go copy-paste it from Clarius or from Ellismere. Talent build, nothing spectacular here. The only thing that will stand out that'll be a little bit different than some other Holy Paladins, whether you've got it or you don't have it yet, is the Lumithar's Trinket. It's something you'll see put in a ton of work here. So we're going to get right into it immediately. We have our first big pull here. We're obviously going to rip Lust on this. One of the things that I'm going to do to protect myself and protect my tank is rip Bubble Sack as fast as humanly possible, pop Wings for extra damage, and then going right into prio targeting the Gorgers as fast as I can. We are in a completely random pug group, so you see me there rip Lumithars as well to try and protect as much as possible. Again, giving that massive overshield, you see it put in a ton of work here, but going and prio targeting these Gorgers down as fast as possible. Our DK is doing an excellent job keeping them from leaping and jumping, pulling them back in, CC, stun, blinds, whatever you can to keep them from getting as many of those casts off of Gorge as possible, because as soon as they die, like you'll see one here soon, boom, we'll get a dot from it. So trying to keep that not only one staggered, but two, trying to keep as many stacks of it off as possible. So here again, really easy though. I just chose in general for me to rip Autumn on myself just because I didn't know timing wise what else was going to go on. So I wanted to get as many of my cooldowns back as possible. This was the first 14 of the season that I was doing, so wasn't quite comfortable yet with some random pugs and how they wanted their cooldowns reduced or not. Second pull is just basically a very streamlined pull again. They move everything into the same group. They train all of them. This targeted ability, this targeted frontal, there's nothing necessarily super concerning about it. The only time that it is concerning is if you can see my timers in the other left there with the AoE incoming followed by the ejection. If those two get tightly overlapped, you might want to save something slightly larger for it, at least from a prior target healing wise, or have them pop a defensive as fast as possible. But as you see here, not really a ton of damage outside of some people taking some frontals or standing and stuff they really shouldn't be. But besides that, the rest of this pull is very simple, just keeping everybody topped off. Again, I see the AoE incoming. I'm ripping in early Lumithars, trying to keep everybody topped off. And as soon as that goes off, you see how much work Lumithars actually puts in. It was crazy. No one's health bars moved. It's kind of nuts how good this is. And for reference, this is a 4 out of 6 hero track Lumithars. It does scale the absorb and heal as you move either an upgrade or into myth track as well. So it's something that I kind of look forward to. We're currently 3 of 8 mythic, and so moving into multiple kills of Lumithar. Hopefully one of these times I will maybe snag a mythic Lumithars. Going into the first boss room, one of the things, because we are in a no voice comm, no Discord, literally 4 random pugs, I'm putting down markers right away. If you're in some lower keys, I definitely recommend doing this. And then keeping that bar open. That's one of the things that I looked back at that I was like, I should have kept that open. Because as those portals come out, you saw how kind of close I was to pre-positioning them. That's where you want all of them. And you saw me there. Boom, I moved one. I said, okay, nope, it's got to go somewhere else. I saw that this one was slightly more shallow than where it should have been. So we're dropping those pools so that way those Gorger Mites, when they come across, they are actually going to stick into those and give us more time to get them down, especially in the higher and higher and higher you go in your keys. You're going to see that these guys take a lot more time to get out. So these two, boom, boom. This one, the DK, we should not be positioning there, and you'll see me reach across and type and let them both tick pretty hard, and I'll let them know, hey, you have to get those on those portals. They have to go over top of it, because in the intermission phase, that's our first burn. We want to burn these guys down as fast as humanly possible. So we'll get ready to go into intermission. I already let them know, hey, please drop those on portals. Here's our Devourer. We kind of got lucky. We got one where we already had a big portal placed. So I'm going to sit back here. I'm going to drop as much as I can. I drop Lumithars, trying to keep everybody up as long as possible. My real job here, though, priority number 1, keep everybody alive while everybody else does damage. Holy Paladin damage is pretty negligible, especially on burst damage like this. So it's not really a massive concern for me. The other two, 2 of them got in, and you'll see us here actually take a little bit more damage on these middle phases, but it ends up not necessarily mattering a whole lot. It did cost us some time at the very end, but it really didn't necessarily matter overall. So same deal here. 3, 2, 1. DK again, not necessarily doing what he should be doing. I'd really like to see those pools a little closer. So if you do have a pug group, if you do have a guild group, the biggest emphasis on positioning is getting those pools into the correct positions so that, just like this, you see our other guy, he goes long here, I go to star, he heads on over to moon, boom. Those are two really good positions for them. You want to make sure that, especially as a healer, take the extra time, go out there. Then there is the one thing you saw me there kind of prior targeting our rogue and myself. That dot that is left on there is absolutely nasty. So if you have a personal, unlike I didn't do there, I didn't rip divine protection there, you can easily rip a personal there every single time that you get targeted with it. It is probably the easiest place to do it because this interface doesn't really damage people outside of, you saw our DK was kind of standing in the puddle a little bit. Outside of that, there's not a whole ton of damage going out in this phase. You even see me pop Lumithars, and you see that heal absorb on the rogue stays on for a lot longer than I necessarily thought it was going to. Rip a virtue here, top everybody back off. It's not like anybody was in danger of dying there either. So again, the two personal spots, especially as the healer, I even gave him a tip up. Hey, fucking nice. Like, it was really, really good. That looks super smooth. They absolutely destroyed it. Those are the two spots you want to look out for a healer, is during the Devour phase, and then when, boom, these people get these dots, is right here. You see me actually rip. Both of them will suddenly get Virtue, and I actually rip Virtue as a whole on here because I know that it's going to be back up later. I know that during the Devour phase, I'm going to get it back up, and I know that this next Toxic Regurgitation that's going to give them the dots, I'll most likely have it back up before then. So watch, both are ticking down, 3, 2, 1, and again, I figure out, hey, let me just rip Virtue on this. Boom, I'm going to rip Virtue on both these, and easily prio target, heal it back up. Boss is dead. So those, again, those are the two tightest points, I would think, if you're trying to keep Virtue for anything. The dot phase and then the Devour phase. That's it. Outside of that, it's just really an easy positioning fight. Don't necessarily get too concerned with any other popping healing cooldowns in terms of wings, the Divine Toll. Obviously, you want to pair those with Virtue for massive burst healing. So into the next area, this is probably my least favorite area of this entire key, strictly because of the area denial and the jumping. You'll see me constantly prio target star. That's just my marker. I always tell them before the key starts, if I'm going to get on any marker, it's going to be star marker, so please let me have it. Whatever marker you have, that is probably an easy tip that I could have for people getting into slightly higher keys. If you are concerned with, like, okay, there's all these auto markers going out, what am I actually going to stick with? Just pick one and get really good at identifying that one in a massive group, especially if you do like big pulls like we did, like we started the dungeon with. Get super good at identifying where that is and then how many kicks, stuns, CCs, blinds, roots, knockups that you need for that. So again, here, nothing necessarily particular in terms of cooldown management or anything like that. You'll see us get through this pack really, really easily. It's a smaller pack. Everybody's cooldowns are on cooldown right now. Now, this is the one thing that our rogue did say immediately, was he had sent me a whisper, was that he needs to be able to re-stealth. So if you are a tank watching this, a Holy Paladin's POV, I don't know why you would be, but please let your rogues re-stealth. Please, 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 please let them re-stealth. It's probably the most helpful thing you can do. It affects their damage overall. It's why you'll see our rogue be a little lower overall in damage coming at the very end. Most dangerous parts here is that little AoE burst, and then at the 50% part where these Manforged Titans, these overcharged Sentinels that are there, that's the part, if you are going to save some sort of minor cooldown, whether it be Divine Toll, whether it be Wings, whether it be Prism, anything like that, if you're going to save it for any parts of it, save it for that. So finishing up this pack again, you'll see him train into this, and this is the one thing that, criticism-wise, that I had of our tank, was just letting our rogue re-stealth. We would have gotten a lot more damage out of it as a whole. So again here, you see two prio targets, both are just kicks, and then the Overcharged Sentinel, as soon as it hits that 50%, as soon as it breaks that shield, that's when it starts pulsing the little AoE puddles. And the hard part is, with 1, 2, 3, effectively 4 if I count myself, because I can basically get out of melee whenever I need to and just rip flashes of light on people to generate holy power. Because we have 4 melee, you kind of want to prio target that down as fast as possible, as it starts to spew these pools out that do a lot of damage if you hang out in them for just a little too long. You'll watch our rogue right there. He'll get ticked by them sometimes, and you'll watch our DK as well will get ticked by them. They hurt a ton. So here again, I'm just looking at this going, okay, let me just virtue everybody because we're kind of in a bad position. We're not necessarily doing very well. I even rip a healing pot there just because I notice, hey, the rest of us are down right now. I need to be the least person I need to worry about. Outside of that, our tank has taken some pretty heavy frontals. We're letting a few casts get off. Anytime you double or triple pull some of these phase blades that are going to be jumping around, or the stalkers that are going to be jumping around and casting, just be extra mindful of the CC that you have on it if you are signing a CC rotation, or just be extra mindful to stay on your specific marker that whole time. So again, here we got another Overcharged Sentinel. It's the only thing that I'm concerned with going into this is I'm going to keep an eye on my kick prio, so I kind of change over to Diamond, then I change back over to this. It's my only priority now is to keep an eye on this thing and see, okay, as soon as it hits 50%, I need to be very mindful of anyone taking those extra massive tick damages, just like our rogue did there and I did there from the puddle, and then saying, okay, I need to burn or save something to be burned during this part. Flick dispelling those, it's a little AoE. It just literally has an extra little dot on top of it, and it comes from some of the phase blade or the ritualist that's here. So you saw the arcane energy go out that gets cast on our mage. It is the only thing. You saw me there too. I rip a fast bop on our DK. He grabbed some aggro really quick. I could see him bursting, and so there's nothing necessarily I'm thinking about particularly saving Bop for, especially in a key like this that I know that there's no necessarily like bleed that I need removed or some sort of other physical or stun that I need to use. So I rip it on him immediately without even thinking about it. Just, hey, I don't need it anywhere else. Might as well use it. Let him continue to go off. Let him cook and let him finish this pack. So pack here we'll finish up. We're going to start to trail it. We'll kite it into the next pack. This boss in particular is actually really, really interesting. I've kind of enjoyed it because it gives me the opportunity to do very burst healing, which Holy Paladin obviously excels at. But getting used to like when I'm holding them, there's no concrete way that I've figured out when to hold specific cooldowns for yet. Essentially, I'm just thinking, okay, can I hold my virtue for specific burst windows? Like when he goes into the impales, like the hook anchors, the roots that are there, and then the other time when we are in the burst intermission phase. Those are the two kind of phases that I'm thinking off the top of my head. Okay, am I going to have things as soon as I'm done with all of these packs that are going on right now? Am I actually going to have cooldowns for it a little later? So again, the most annoying packs in the world. I really can't say much about this. I don't know what necessarily I don't know who it was that was thinking about this. You actually see me hit my I'm about button here too. Like I said, we weren't in voice chat, so I had to let him know somehow that, like, hey, before this boss, before something, like, you need to let me drink. If you are just planning on pugging the majority of your keys, you're going to want to do this. Create, like, a quick macro for yourself, set it on the sidebar, click it if you need to, let them know, like, hey, give me a second. It's one of the easiest ways that you can communicate with them, and then you see me start drinking immediately. I let him know, hey, I'm drinking, you're going to be without me. I give him a little joke. I might be drinking, but I don't have a problem. I'm hilarious in keys. Right. So we go right into this next pull. I'm not looking to try and tap out or like cap out my mana completely. I know that I'm going to be sitting around usually like 50 to 60% most of the key, so it's not much of a concern. Again, make sure that you're getting dispels. Dwarf, completely OP. Being able to dispel myself and dispel another person, absolutely cracked OP. You see me, the overcharged Sentinel is bursting, so I rip Lumithars here again to try and protect everybody. There's a lot of extra DPS, or a lot of extra damage going out here. So, boom, our rogue dies. I think this was our only death of the whole key, I'm pretty sure. And then I'm confident I like highlighted after this too, because I'm trying to figure out what he died from. And if I look at it, yeah, there it was. He got he got 2 bolted in, I think it was like under a second. He got double bolted in, and so, yep, there it is. Is 1 bolt, 2 bolts in 1.1, 1.2 seconds, I think, if I saw that correctly. Not much you can do there except for, hey, make sure that you get kick stun. So, Could I have saved it there? Probably. That's something else you want to look at. But in a more organized group, you'll have a little easier time avoiding little silly deaths like that. But he's back. We're good to go. Okay, into the weird single target, two target, single target boss. Spears are coming out. And positioning here is actually really, really key. This allows multi-target, like multi-cleave classes to just cleave the hell out of him. As you noticed, it got absolutely deleted. Thank you, Arcane Mage. Thank you, Rogue. So from here, I take one of the first little charge. I use a small personal. The dot doesn't hurt that bad. The only thing that started to, I at least noticed, above like a 10, a 12, and then into some 14s, was some of the tank damage started to hurt a lot more. This is something too you want to be careful with. People are going to take a ton of damage here, so I pop wings, pop everything here, because I know that as this goes with a slightly more uncoordinated group, we might be in this phase a little longer than I anticipate. So popping my awakening there. Actually, it wasn't wings, it was awakening there. So we get out of that phase. That's probably the scariest phase, especially if we sit there for too long or somebody overlaps themselves. You'll see me start to send some stuff into the bosses, etc. Holy Paladin, DPS, and keys is kind of a joke. It is what it is. We just move on. And then really this whole thing's just a rinse refresh. I mana pot there just because I know that he has been through this whole key. He's been training everything. And so my mind is stuck on, okay, I'm probably not going to get another chance to drink. Right before we go into this, I pop Lumithars. Again, Lumithars putting in a ton of work. You saw from the very first one to the second one now. There's a massive difference in the amount of damage I actually took, which is crazy. I hung out in that a little longer than I'd like to, but it was fine. I didn't even have to pop a personal. I just prior healed myself. So if there's another player that's in that, sure, you can pop sack on them. Sure, you can just prior heal them instead. So here, I want to get out and give them space. A rogue does something sneaky here. Cloaks it, pops back in. Cool, excellent. I didn't even know that this actually worked. So that's actually really cool. That's probably one of my easiest, quickest tips is that you can just immune it, and it went away. So that's really, really cool. Back here again, here comes Arcane Blitz, so we're back into intermission, and I'm pretty confident I rip wings here. Let me see. Yep, there it went. So I ripped wings immediately. I was like, nope, I'm not messing with this phase. I even extend it with my awakening proc. I'm just not going to deal with it this time. Last time, a few people got a little too low. I didn't love it, so I just said, to hell with it. I'm just going to do it this way. It's going to be easier. Plus, you can get a little bit of extra damage just from the cleave and some of the bursts and from Sun's avatar, so it is what it is. I ripped it this time just because I could. The nice part I'm looking at too is Lumithars is coming back off cooldown. That's the really cool part about Holy Paladin is we have so many windows of bursts that we can have, and the times where like last year we just felt like we had nothing else to give, Lumithars kind of covers for that. So again, these go out, I pop Lumithars. You saw the massive shield there. It's kind of gross how big this shield is. So I'm hanging out in this again. I'm like, this is not good. And so I'm going to get this dot. I actually popped bubble on this just because I didn't like the idea of me getting 3 stacks of spear followed by a frontal dot. So I'll have 2 dots sticking at me and one's a ramping dot. Tink does a good job here. He knows, hey, let me get out. Let me start pulling stuff in immediately. Let's start cleaving this thing down. And boom, we're right into the next pack. Again, the only issue with this is when you do have a rogue, go ahead and let them re-stealth, please. Another big pull here. We're coming out of boss, and as soon as we get everything together, you're going to see me find my prio target. There it was. Okay. I'm looking at the stalker. I want to make sure that I get as many of those interrupts kicked, stunned, blinded as possible, so drop some AMZ for us, just for some extra protection. Good on our DK friend. Really, overall, this dungeon, the only thing that was tight about it, you'll see it at the very end. I think we finished with like 5 or 6 seconds left, which is very, very, very tight. The hardest part, I think, was probably figuring out our burst windows, especially as Holy Paladin, knowing that when I should and when I shouldn't virtue. So if you are getting into higher and higher keys and you're noticing that you're struggling with certain ones, I would definitely recommend trying as best as you can to try and just work around your virtue windows. Think, okay, when is burst damage coming in? When can I just like natty heal through this with some flashes of light, some holy shocks, and some eternal flames? When can I do that? Versus when do I need just this massive kick in the ass burst? So big skip here, skip through these. He's going to snag these first few. I'm going to go to kick. I overlap with our mage. Big sad. And we're over to these little towers. Little towers give that haste buff. I can't remember if we end up actually getting a few of these. I think we get 1 or 2 of them. But again, the Ritualist, making sure to dispel that. I actually throw sack on him because I was actually kind of interested, like, what if I just let it expel itself? But then with our melee, obviously I want our melee with as much uptime as possible, so I'm flick dispelling that as quick as possible. He has... No, he doesn't AMS it. He just lets it expel, or dispel himself, basically. He lets it... evaporate, and so he just lets that go. So if you are melee and you do see that 2 of them have gone out, you can just let it expire. It's fine, but it just may kind of into you as melee if you can't reach things. So here I'm like, okay, did he drop did he drop combat? No, he didn't. Okay, so I can't get it. I Lumithars again, just because I see energy coming out. The erratic ritual from the actual the elite mob that's here is just an AoE. So I rip it to be safe. I noticed too, hey, I've got a bunch of mana. Let me go ahead and rip just a temper potion as well while I'm here. Get a little bit extra. Always switch target. You see my big red arrow. Please, 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 please. If you are melee and you are seeing this video, again, for some reason, I don't know why you're watching a Holy Paladin's POV, but good on you. Switch to it as fast as possible. Our group did a really good job of it. As you saw, they absolutely deleted it super quick. It's what gives the thing that is currently casting the erratic ritual, it's what gives it a bigger shield. Our mage almost died there. Not quite sure. I think he got bolted in the middle of all of it, but he somehow lived. Yeah, I was talking in... I think I typed something, I whispered something to him and was like, dead question mark? And he goes, true. I'm like, wow, I had not seen that happen in a while. So here we have another big pull. You'll see me rip Bop. He ripped aggro, but I want him to just go off. So I'm like, all right, go, dude. Flipped Bop onto him and just let him go ham while our tank got the rest of its aggro settled. So this erratic ritual, again, this is the only time really you have to be concerned as a healer is when that erratic ritual is going off. So I just say virtue for it every single time and rip virtue into it. And as you saw, health bars really didn't move. Outside of that, if you do get one of these bugs, avoid that knock up, that big brown circle that's on the ground. I don't know how many times I've seen people get hit by it in lower keys. So you see me here, I've got 3 Dawn Lights, I've got 2 Rising Sunlight procs. I rip Lumithars. It gives me enough of a window and absorb to catch back up on everybody too. You see me, everybody's topped off, so I start sending some Rising Sunlights even into the mobs just for some extra DPS. Our mage is just getting hammered again. That's that erratic ritual that's going off. You see me send it a little late, but it was a combination of having Lumithars as well as topping everybody off right after that. So, again, nothing necessarily super scary there. So again, they prio target, they swap to it. You saw the big red arrow pop up and then disappear super fast, which was good on our guys. Again, keeping these things kicked as much as we can. Okay, last thing we're running in, I think this is second or third to last pack that we're running into. Again, prior targeting, keep your kicks up, keep your stuns up, hodge blind as you need to as a Holy Paladin. You know what to do. Do Paladin things, please. Our tank is taking a hell of a lot of damage here. He shield walls and everything else too. I think he even says something after this as well. I was like, ooh, it was a little tight. Yeah, he apologizes, sorry. I think he took a few backswings is what ended up happening as he was regathering and bringing him back down the stairs. But you see me there, quick flipping over to different targets, making sure that things stay extra kicked. And then sending, again, Holy Shocks into stuff. Sending a few Shield of the Righteous when I can. Remember, your priority is and it will forever be, is healing. Keep everybody else alive. You see me, I'm doing a massive amount of 800k DPS. That's a joke. There's not a whole lot of DPS for us to be had here. So priority number one, if you're new into Holy Paladin or you're just trying to push a little bit slightly higher keys, priority number one, keep the damn group alive, period. Full stop, end of story. Worry about doing DPS and getting in there later. So you'll see us, okay, we run all the way across now. Boom, we're into the last few groups. I bubble myself here because I ripped a few Holy Shocks when I shouldn't have. That is a very, very, very real thing. This is actually a great point to slightly tangent while this group is going off. These two packs are identical. The Erratic Ritual goes off, regular kicks go off, and the Farstalkers just jump around. There's nothing else different about these packs whatsoever. So you see me prior target swapping. So let's talk about this, though. When you are doing really big chain pulls as a Holy Paladin, you will snag aggro really fast if you are trying to heal your tank. I know this is kind of weird to say, but your tank needs to be able to be self-sufficient for the first like 5 to 10 seconds if they are chain pulling. Because the moment you go to try and rip either a Divine Toll, a Holy Prism, a Virtue, any of those things mixed with an Eternal Flame, you will, without a doubt, grab aggro. So, number one, be ready for that. Just like I did, where I saw it happen, and I'm like, no, bubble. Or number two, make sure to communicate with your tank if you can. I know that's never necessarily ideal. It's like, hey, Renew, I just pug a bunch of things. I never communicate with them. Just let them know beforehand, hey, if you are doing big chain pulls, I will not heal you for the first 5 to 10 seconds, like the first at least few globals before they get in and establish aggro, because otherwise I will rip aggro from you because we are such a burst healy class, and I will end up on the floor. And so long as they understand that, that's good. And this is where you can see the guys actually talking about it. They're like, you can't chain pull with a rogue. It's like, that's been our one thing that has been hurting us so far. So here comes the AoE on the side. I hit Lumithars. It kept everybody up. You actually saw how much that healed. Boom. Flick, heal, dispel myself. Get this last. Yep, there we go. There was the last kick. All right, cool. I don't know why I got that one. I'm padding meters at that point. Last two will die. I'm ready to go. I see the timer. I see we're at 3:30 at this point. I'm like, yeah, we need to go. So the cool part, we actually walk into this and we have Lust up. So it's really cool. We're able to do a ton of damage right out of the gate. This boss, really interesting. There's like two, again, burst phases that you need to be concerned with. The first is that initial burst on the daggers that come out. You have plenty of time to get your clone. Let me just start there. You have so much time to get your clone. It's a joke. The second big burst is this right here. So you'll see the actual circles go out, and it's not this, but it's the one right after. You see where it almost actually clips me to 0? That burst is the only other scary part. So save your virtues specifically for those. You'll see me burn a few infusion procs. Again, infusion proc. There's that. Now I have tons of time. I see I have to go a little further, so I burn a Divine Steed. But again, I have a ton of catch-up time. It's the second one. It's the circles where when you have to get out and there's that massive circle, that's the one you need to save you beacon to top everybody else back off. So again, you see me here. I see the one that's in there. I see the one that's out of there. I pop it. You see the impact in the middle of the screen. I've got tons of time to walk in here. I even free to myself. 1, 2, 3. I had 3 additional seconds to actually go get that guy without getting blasted. So that's how much time you have. So take your time. Just breathe for a second. You have, I think it's 5 or 6 seconds in total since the prior impact to actually go get your clone. So go in there, grab the one that's in the first one initially, and then get back out. Our group does a really, really, really good job of this too, by the way. So here comes Lines. I'm not super concerned. I pop Virtue. Hit everybody back up. Boom. Everybody's back up top. Great. Everybody's happy. We get our little buff. We do the dance. Circles are coming out. And this is the next one where I see, okay, let me top everybody off as much as I can. I hit that. I hit Beacon again. And then I rip everybody back up again. That is probably your most ideal time to hit Virtue. It would have been a better time. I could have probably at that point also potentially have used Divine or Dev Aura, it probably would have been a good time for me to use it. Daggers come back out. Make sure that you get your dagger clone, and you're good to go. Heal people back up. Not necessarily much to be concerned with there. This is the part where I tell them, hey, please use personals. Like, this is going to hurt a ton, and I know it coming out of this. I got a little greedy there with my Divine Steed. Hey, Steed stays up forever, so I ripped that, because I knew going into this, like, please just use a personal. Don't make me rip anything big, because I know that going into the last phase, I will have Lumithars, I will have Devotion Aura. I could have ripped it earlier, like I said, but I wanted them to use something, and that's, unfortunately, when you're not in voice comms, it's the only way to talk to somebody. So here, again, we got dagger lines coming out. Super easy. I pop Lumithars right there, and you see how much that actually saves me. So I don't have to really spend anything to get anybody back up. Yeah, if you can get Lumithars, go get it. Even on normal, it's a ton of overshield. It's a ton of healing that it'll do across the dungeon. So I pop Dev Aura there. You saw that. Look how much it actually saved me from having to catch up. I pop Beacon of Virtue, and boom, we are caught back up. So funny enough too, I think we timed, yeah, it was 6 seconds that was left on it. I don't know if I even got any gear from this, did I? Oh, look, I got a two-hander and something else. So there you can see my gear too. Running with a heroic Lumithars and then a normal Nexus command. So that's what you see actually popping up every once in a while. Outside of that, really, the one thing I wanted to re-highlight overall was just at this dungeon level out of 14, you can still make small mistakes, and you'll still be able to get away with it. But starting to get your timing down, if I can give you any advice, just start to get your timing down of your virtue windows and your burst healing windows. You'll start to find the things that will 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, if somebody is not top back off, will kill them. And without you knowing that virtue window and learning it in like a 12 or 13 before you go into a 14, 15, or 16 now, it will 100% give you the edge on other healers and get into higher and higher and higher IO groups and higher keys as you go. Outside of that, I've got nothing else for you guys. Peace, enjoy your week, and that was a 14 Eco Dome from Holy Paladin. We'll see you guys.